Gentleman yields back. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from California, Mr. Waxman, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This morning, our nation's leading climate scientists released the country's third national climate assessment. The report confirms that climate change is real, is being caused by humans, and is already harming communities across America. The report tells us that the scientific evidence is unequivocal. The impacts are being felt in every region, and they're growing more urgent, and they are going to get worse if we don't act. A record drought is destroying crops in California. Torrential rains have flooded Florida. Wildfires are getting more intense. Coastal areas are being inundated as sea levels rise. No sector of our economy, from oyster hatcheries on the West Coast to maple syrup producers in New England, are untouched. Even allergy sufferers are affected as pollen season starts earlier and lasts longer. The National Climate Assessment concludes that unless we act now to cut carbon pollution, these impacts will intensify. No state, no community, no congressional district will be spared from climate change. We will all be affected. So we are at a crossroads. One path is to listen to the scientists. We can protect our environment by curbing carbon pollution from power plants and oil refineries. We could lead the world in developing the clean energy technologies of the future, like solar and wind energy. We can meet our moral obligation to preserve our fragile atmosphere for our children and grandchildren. The other path is to deny the science, ignore the growing threat of climate change. We can watch our coastlines flood, our forests burn, and our crops wither. We can let the Chinese and other countries dominate the trillion-dollar market for the clean, renewable energy of the future. It should be an easy choice, but the special interests that profit from fossil fuels are spending hundreds of millions of dollars to obscure the issues. The Koch brothers, the coal companies, the oil industry have joined forces to stop any action to address climate change in Congress. Consider this. Earlier this year, virtually every Republican member of the House voted to block EPA regulation of dangerous carbon pollution. They even voted to deny that climate change is occurring. I'm the ranking member of the Energy and Commerce Committee. This committee has jurisdiction over our nation's energy policy. Over the last 3 years, Representative Bobby Rush, the ranking member of the Energy Subcommittee, and I have sent over 30 letters requesting that we hold hearings on climate science so we can make informed decisions. Not even one hearing on the science has been held. Thankfully, President Obama is not waiting for Congress to act. The President is listening to the scientists. He recognizes the danger of uncontrolled climate change, and he's using his authority under existing law to cut carbon pollution. The President is absolutely right to act. His climate action plan is reasonable, it's affordable, and it will protect our atmosphere for our children and future generations. It accelerates a transition to a clean energy economy that will create millions of jobs. The President has said he's willing to listen to other ideas, but Republicans have offered no alternatives. I've repeatedly asked the House Republicans, if you don't like the President's plan, what is your proposal? But I've never gotten an answer because they don't have one. Saying no to every solution is not a plan. Doing nothing is not a plan. Denying the science is not a plan. No one can accept what the scientists are telling us and fail to support a plan of action. If Republicans aren't going to offer solutions, the President must continue to act. He deserves our support. We still have time to avoid the worst impacts of climate change presented by the National Climate Assessment, but the window is closing fast. We must act now to stop carbon pollution and invest in the clean energy technologies of the future.